Okay, so there's something really strange going on right now in the world's most critical energy choke point, the Strait of Hormuz. It's not quite a blockade, and it's not a war, well, not yet anyway. It's something much, much more subtle, and today we're going to break down the anatomy of what some are calling a soft closure.
Just look at this. This is a live traffic map of the strait, and this is not a normal day. What you're seeing is a massive, unprecedented traffic jam of ships, just sitting there. They're effectively choking the world's most important waterway. And the huge question is, why?
To figure this out, we have to become detectives. The key to understanding this whole situation is right here, hidden in plain sight on the map. The patterns themselves are telling us the story. Now, this is where it gets really interesting. Look at the difference in behavior. See the red dots? Those are the oil tankers. Notice how they're all bunched up, holding their position, almost like they're afraid to go in. But the green dots, the regular cargo ships, they're still moving, more or less. This isn't a coincidence. It's a massive clue. It tells us that the lower value cargo is still willing to risk it, but the really big ticket items, the strategic energy assets, they're staying put.
So why are the tankers specifically holding back? Well, it all boils down to one word: risk. Their cargo is just so geopolitically sensitive and unbelievably valuable. They're probably waiting for some kind of security guarantee, maybe coordinating with a naval escort, or they're trying to get insurance clearance, which you can bet is going through the roof right now. Bottom line, they're just way more sensitive to risk.
And this right here is the crucial point. The Strait of Hormuz isn't physically blocked. There are no mines in the water that we know of, no warships forming a blockade. Nobody's declared it closed. What we're seeing is something totally different. It's a behavioral throttling of global energy. The flow is being squeezed, not by physical force, but by fear and by uncertainty. And this behavior, this throttling by fear, it all points to a central, fascinating concept: the soft closure strategy. It's basically a new kind of blockade, built for the 21st century.
And here it is. This is the key that unlocks this whole puzzle: a soft closure via risk. It's a strategy designed to disrupt the flow of energy by dialing up uncertainty, creating delays, and making costs like insurance skyrocket. And the real genius of it, from a strategic point of view, is that it does all of this while trying to stay just below the line that would trigger a massive military response.
The result of a strategy like this is profound. The entire nature of the waterway changes. Think about this quote: "The strait is no longer a commercial space. It becomes a managed military corridor." It shifts from a place governed by maritime law to a space governed by risk and pure naval power.
All right, so if that's the problem, a soft closure, what's the countermove? Well, the most likely answer is something we haven't seen on a large scale in a long time: the coming convoy system.
You know, this represents a fundamental change in how the strait operates. For decades, the model has been free navigation under risk. Now, we're shifting to a new reality of controlled navigation under protection. The job of ensuring safe passage is literally moving from the shipping companies over to the world's navies. Okay, so where would these convoys actually go? This map shows the most probable answer. The main route, the one they'll almost certainly use first, is this southern safe lane right along the coast of Oman. And why there? It's simple geography. It puts the maximum possible distance between those high-value tankers and the biggest threats coming from the Iranian mainland. In reality, it'll probably evolve into a three-lane system. You'll have that southern safe lane as the primary, safest route. Then you'll need a central managed lane just to handle all the traffic, even though it's a bit riskier. And finally, that northern lane, the one closest to Iran, that's going to become a high-risk, no-go zone, at least for any tanker that can avoid it. And protecting these convoys is an incredibly complex, layered operation. The best way to think about it is like a series of defensive rings. The outer layer is all about detection. You've got drones and surveillance planes spotting threats from far away. The middle layer is your deterrence, big warships like destroyers that say, don't even think about it. And then you've got the inner layer, the close-in protection, with patrol boats and helicopters forming a tight security bubble right around the tankers.
So, we've broken down the problem and the most likely response. But the big question is, what happens next? This is the countdown. Here's how you can watch this crisis unfold in real time.
Okay, based on the patterns we're seeing right now, here's a rough forecast. Over the next 24 hours, expect to see those tanker clusters start organizing themselves into smaller groups, little informal packets. Then, the 24 to 48-hour window. That's the first real moment of truth, the first decision point for trying a limited protected passage.
And by the 72-hour mark, the new reality will probably start to show itself. Either we have a working convoy corridor, a messy stop-start pattern, or some new incident freezes everything up again.
So, what are the red flags? What should you be watching for? Keep an eye on these things. If you see tankers suddenly scatter or the clusters get even tighter, that's a bad sign. A big drop in ships heading west is another. And obviously, any direct incident, a drone attack, a fast boat confrontation, or worst of all, confirmation of a mine, that would signal a very, very serious escalation.
On the flip side, what are the good signs? How do we know if things are calming down? Well, the single most important sign of de-escalation would be seeing those tanker clusters start moving in organized, deliberate groups. You'd also see more regular spacing between ships and less of that traffic jam at the waiting points. And finally, if you see a public announcement about maritime security operations, that's basically a confirmation that a managed convoy system is up and running.
So, here's the bottom line. We are in this tense, fragile moment, a pre-convoy, pre-incident phase. All the pieces are moving on the chessboard, and the whole system is shifting to a new, uncertain reality. The ships are waiting, the world is watching. And the question that hangs over everything is, will the next move be a convoy or a conflict?